What is going on, live streamers? Today, we are going to be talking about 10 easy things that you can do to start getting more views on your YouTube live streams. Now, this is going to apply to the live stream that you're having in terms of people coming in while you're live, but it's also going to apply to the replays of your live streams as well. Now, as we start getting into this, some of the information that we're going to be talking about is discovery on YouTube in terms of how YouTube, distributes your content and how to make it easy for people to find what it is that you are, streaming about. 2, we're going to talk about structuring your live stream so that you can take advantage of the replay views as well. And we're going to be talking about a lot of other things as well. But those are the core of what it is that we're going to be talking about during the training today. So as we first get into this, we are also going to be doing a Q&A. So I forgot to mention that a second ago, but we're going to be doing a Q&A as well. But to get started, I want to talk about YouTube discovery. So what YouTube discovery means is it's essentially how people find your content. So when it comes to the platform itself, they actually have a search and discovery team that actually works on the algorithm and all that. And that's how your content actually gets surfaced onto the platform. So when you are publishing videos to YouTube, a lot of people expect YouTube to show their content to the right people, but it doesn't always get in front of the right people because the creator that's live streaming or even publishing video content, because this applies to people that make videos too, they don't optimize things properly. And because of that, it causes YouTube to either show the content to the wrong people, or it isn't crystal clear that it's of something of interest to the people that YouTube is showing it to, even if they are the perfect fit for your content. So how the whole system works, and this part is really important to understand, is when you first publish a video on YouTube or when you first go live, YouTube starts showing that to people that they think would be engaged in that particular, that they think would engage and enjoy that particular thing that you've optimized around. So when they start showing your content to people, if people don't respond to it at all, in terms of they don't click on it, they don't come in, they don't hang out for a little bit, then what's going to happen is YouTube is going to deprioritize your video or your live stream, and they're going to prioritize showing content to people that is getting some type of response from it. So because of that, you have to really put a lot of emphasis and a lot of attention to discovery on YouTube if you want to get more views in your live stream. We're going to talk about exactly how to do that. So the very first part of discovery is actually finding or streaming about things that you know for certain that the people who are into your type of content, that they are likely to enjoy based on things that they look for. So some tools that you can use to figure out what people look for are TubeBuddy, Answer the Public, and you can use YouTube's autocomplete feature as well. So with these, what they do is they help you identify things that people are looking for at scale and things that people aren't really looking for, okay? So I'm gonna go through just a quick example and show you how some of these things work before we move on to the other ones, just so you can get some context in terms of, how all this stuff works. So I'm gonna switch over here to another screen, but as a part of this, one thing that we're going to talk about here is SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. Now, it's important to know that when it comes to search engine optimization, that search in terms of, helping people find your content, that's one side of it, right? Because of course, search traffic is a stable traffic source on YouTube, and you can get long-term views in YouTube search, but a majority of the traffic on YouTube actually happens through their recommendation features, which means through home pages, through the subscriber feed, through suggested videos, basically YouTube recommending your content to people when they're not expecting to watch it, okay? And you want to keep everything that I just said there in context as we get into the rest of the information that we're going to be talking about. So the very first thing that I want to show you here, and I should have had this screen up here actually before I went live here. So what I want to show you here first is just an example of, some of the things that we're going to be talking about and the effectiveness of them. So the very first one is because we're going to be talking about search engine optimization. So I'm on Google right here, okay? So when it comes to YouTube itself, I'm just going to show you something here really quick. So this live stream that you're watching right now, you can see right here in this screenshot, you can see how right down here in the bottom of the screen, if somebody was looking for ways to get more, get more live stream views or ways to get more live stream views before this stream even started, we were showing up here. And I optimize every live stream that I do for the most part around this type of thing in order to help people that are searching for it at that moment in time be able to find it. But another win with this is you can also pull traffic in the future from doing this as well. But all you have to do in this particular case, I'm going to show you how effective it is right here in a second, but all you have to do is look around, right? Do a little bit of research first before you optimize your stream. Find the things that people are actually searching for around the topics that you make content about. And then you simply add those phrases or those keywords to your title and or your description. Now, of course, the content itself needs to be about that thing that you're talking about as well, especially for the replay, because, you know, YouTube does read the captions. They are actually watching the videos, not a person, but their algorithm is watching the videos for, you know, identifying things in the video and to know exactly what it is that you're saying in the video and so on. But in this particular example, you can see all I did was I just added those words or those phrases as part of my title and part of my description. And by doing that, it helped it come up before the stream started, right? But another bonus with this is by giving the system that additional context. And this is specific to live streaming. This applies to video content too, but it's extremely important for live because when you go live, you need to ensure that YouTube is showing your content to the right people, right? So I'm actually going to turn off my automation here. There we go. So what you need to make sure that you're doing is that you are putting keywords or keyword phrases into your titles and or your description so that it gives the system a little bit more context, because live streaming is different. And I'll come back to the screen here in a second, but live streaming is different than a piece of video content while it's live, because with a piece of video content, when you upload it, YouTube goes through a processing phase when you upload a piece of content, and that processing phase figures out what the video is about by using the metadata that's attached to the video, but by also, you know, hearing the words, so to speak, or reading the words that you're saying, and then getting the context from what it is that you're showing on screen. So with the video content, it has that context, but with live stream content, it doesn't have that context. So you have to make sure that you're using the metadata as a way to ensure that YouTube has a good understanding of what your content might be about before you even start your stream, so that when you schedule your stream, it's getting shown to the right people, and when you're actually live, it's getting shown to the right people as well. Now, in terms of effectiveness of this, when you do this, it's great for, you know, getting your content in front of the right people, but it's also good for after the fact as well. So in this particular example, I just pulled up some really fast examples here just based on, you know, this news live segment that I do on my channel. And you can see here that I put YouTube feature updates, right? So for this, if I go and I scroll down the page, you can see I'm getting outranked here on Google by, you know, some videos, but I have a short live stream that I did down here back in March, and this still brings traffic into my YouTube channel from people looking for any YouTube feature updates, which YouTube has feature updates all the time. So because of that, this is just a continual vehicle of people being able to come into my YouTube channel because of this particular content showing up here in Google, right? This doesn't even count YouTube. Like, this is Google, and your live streams can also show up on, you know, Bing. They can show up in Yahoo and anything else, you know, that shows video results when people search. Same exact thing for YouTuber News. Now, on this one, because there's a YouTube channel called YouTuber News, so because of that, they dominate the first part in terms of the all tab. But if you go to videos, you can see over here, because I optimize for that in a lot of my streams that I do the YouTuber News in. So because of that, you can see how it keeps popping up. But one thing I want to bring to your attention is if you look at this one right here, you can see that I just have like YouTube updates, right? That's kind of what I was going for there. But then I also put YouTuber News down here. And as a part of this, it's still causing this to show up, even though it's just in my description and not my title. And then if I keep going down, you know, then you can see that, you know, with these things in here, it helps, you know, make sure that these are showing up when people are looking for news as it relates to YouTubers, because that is my, you know, target audience of people that I'm trying to reach. So you can do this same exact thing as a way to make it easy for people to find you on the replay, right? So that they can experience what it is that you do, and then they can come back in later, you know, on the live streams when you're actually live after they subscribe to your channel and whatnot. But when it comes to figuring some of this stuff out in terms of your audience, there's a website here. You actually get 3 free searches on this particular website. Let me add this to the stream. So if you are trying to figure out, you know, what it is topically that the people that you're trying to reach are interested in, you can use this website. And just as a heads up, I have a screenshot at the end of this stream that you'll be able to just, take a screenshot of, and I list all the tools that I'm going to talk about during the stream. But this is called Answer the Public, and it's answerthepublic.com, and you get 3 free searches a day. So how this works is like right here, if I did, live streaming tips as an example, and then I change this to English, or the United States, I should say, and then I'm going to change this to English, and then I'm going to hit search. And then what you're going to see here is this is going to list, and sometimes this can take a few minutes, not a few minutes, but a handful of seconds. But what you're going to see is this is actually going to list out a bunch of things that people are looking for around that particular topic, right? So here it looks like it's showing, 36 different questions around here, right? Tips for live streaming on TikTok, live streaming tips and tricks. Why is live streaming important? Live streaming tips and tricks. Why live stream? Which live stream service is best? And it just breaks it down this way so you can just get an idea of, what people are looking for around your space. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the screen here, you can see that they actually list these out. So you don't have to twist your head around, trying to read all these. But if you scroll down here, since they're listed out alphabetically, then you can go in and you can just start writing all of these down, right? So you can say, okay, well, if I'm talking about live streaming, then in that case, I would take, like live stream tips, and I would make sure to do that. I would make sure to do live streaming tips and tricks, live streaming betting tips. Wouldn't do that one. Live streaming business tips, totally, all day. Live stream tips, live streaming tips and tricks, and so on. But you get the idea. And this applies to all of the content. Like, it doesn't matter what type of videos you make, you can find a way to use this tool and the other tools I'm getting ready to show you to help you better understand the things that people in your space are the most interested in, so that you can optimize for it on the search side, like I was showing you, in terms of just simply adding that to your title and to your video description as well. The next tool, this one's called TubeBuddy. This one is a paid service. So here you get, the Answer the Public is free for 3 searches per day, but then they have paid if you're going to be aggressive with it. And then this next tool here is called TubeBuddy. With TubeBuddy, what they do is they use YouTube data, and they use Google data, and the same exact thing applies here. So if I'm just going to do live stream tips, probably should have put live streaming tips in here. But basically what they do is they actually give me like a meter in terms of like, hey, this is competitive. This has a high, search volume, but low competition, those types of things. But more importantly, they show you additional things that people look for over here so that you can really narrow down, 1, a bunch of different ideas, but 2, you can start to figure out over time things that you have the best chance of showing up for when people are actually looking for it after the fact, right? But most importantly, remember, because you're trying to get views while you're live as well. So when you come in with a live stream, and this part's really important, so I'm actually going full screen on this one, but one of the things that's really important here is when you optimize your live stream for the things that you're finding here, one of the powerful things about live streaming on YouTube is they actually prioritize live streams. So because of that, you can have a situation to where while you're live, in addition to YouTube showing you to the right people, that are interested in those subjects based on their data on those users, you also are giving yourself the opportunity to possibly show up for high volume keywords as well, which is a really big bonus when it comes to live streaming. But the next let's see here. So I've got on this list right here, and YouTube autocomplete. Okay, so this is the other one. So when it comes to YouTube autocomplete, this is 100% free, and it's on YouTube. And this is another way to discover what the people that are interested in your content are looking for. So for example, we have Jabari's fitness channel just jumped into the chat right here saying, what's up, what's going on? So in this particular case, let's say that, in their case, they were going to be doing live streams around fitness. Then in that case, we could go, just do fitness and see what comes up. We just type it into search, and then YouTube is going to give us, just different things here. So then we're going to do tips, and then now we're getting a little bit more granular. So what we're doing here is, if fitness was the keyword, right? If we're talking about SEO, fitness is the keyword, fitness tips, we're starting to get a little bit more long tail here. Technically, fitness tips could be the keyword, but when you keep adding to things, it's called long tail when it comes to YouTube search. And this allows you to be able to really dial in on a specific phrase that people are looking for and get a lot more clear on the specific thing that people are looking for that will bring them to you. So here, as an example, fitness tips for men. So in this case, let's say that Jabani's fitness channel does fitness, information for men on their channel, and men's their target audience. Then in that case, they could go after that. They could go after, fitness tips for beginners, fitness tips for, tips and tricks, those types of things. But a really cool thing that you can do here is you just put a space after, the initial thing that you go into, like in that case was tips. And then I'm just going to put an A, and then now it gives us, some additional things here, right? Fitness tips and tricks for computer users. So then in that case, he can have just a very crystal clear offering and a very specific group of people targeted for that particular live stream to help those people come in live, but also to get more of those people viewing on the replay so that when he goes live next time, that they're already engaged with what it is that they're doing. So this is a really powerful thing. And then to keep researching, use backspace and hit B, and then you go through the same thing, C, D, like back here, right? We did C, and we got gym climbing tips, right? Fitness coaching tips, things like that. But you just use this as a way to better uncover the specific things that the people that you're trying to reach are interested in. So, the one part of this is that it is, it's funny, I wasn't even showing it on screen. So let me do that again. So basically it was fitness, right? And then here you can see the things listed here for fitness. And then for the fitness, tips, then we get, another list, and then I hit A, it gives me another list, backspace B, I get another list, C, another list, backspace D, I get another list, and I can go through the whole alphabet. I can put 4 and then do a space here, and then it's going to give me those, that information. But you can just get really creative. You can spend an hour in here, and just from YouTube autocomplete alone, you'll come up with enough live stream ideas to, keep you going for pretty much forever, at least for the next year on your YouTube channel. But the important thing with what I'm showing you here is, one, that will help you make sure that you're getting in front of the right people. It'll help you make sure that the things that you're streaming about, that they do have an interest, right? And it also helps you understand how the people that you're trying to reach are actually looking for and thinking about what it is that you are offering in your live stream so that you can better match that as well. So when it shows up on a homepage while you're live to somebody who isn't already interested in your content, somebody completely new, they don't know anything about you or your channel, when they see it, those people will be able to come in from that. So in addition to that, yeah, Andrew. Hey, what's up, Andrew? In addition to that, the next thing that you want to make sure that you're doing, and just as a reminder for that, when it comes to search engine optimization, in a nutshell, there's more advanced things that you can do, but since this is like a beginner stream, in a nutshell, the idea is just taking the keyword or keyword phrase that you are trying to, get attention for, and that you're trying to connect with your potential viewer with, and you just make sure that you build your title around that, and then you want to make sure that you also put it in your video description as well, because YouTube uses both of those for context. So the whole idea with that concept, though, is that, this helps ensure that your stream is discoverable while you're streaming and on the replay. And it also, YouTube is going to use that metadata context to show your content to the right people that are the most likely to be engaged in that particular topic. Now, one thing that you want to make sure that you avoid when it comes to your titles on YouTube, and when you're thinking about like, okay, I'm getting ready to go live. So what can I do? What's the best thing that I could do in order to make my content identifiable from the outside? The worst thing that you could do is having titles like "We're live" or "Live Hangout" or "Community Hangout" or something like that, where there's zero context of what's actually happening. Because in order for that to matter to somebody, they have to already be familiar with you. They have to identify that the stream is yours in some way, and then they have to come in that way. So you're just crushing your accessibility there instead of opening it up by being more clear and using the information that we were just talking about, when it comes to search. Now, the next thing you want to make sure that you are doing when you're wanting to get more views on your live streams is, of course, making obvious thumbnails. So I just looked at a channel here before the stream started, and one of the things that they were doing is that they're using custom thumbnails, which is where you upload a unique thumbnail to YouTube. But the prominent object in their thumbnail is actually the person, right, or one of the people on the YouTube channel. And they're talking about like Gmail and these sorts of things. But unfortunately, the Gmail logo is just really really small on their thumbnails, and the thumbnail's dominated mostly by white space, but then the thing that pulls your eye is a person, and then they've got this really small, Gmail logo in there. So in that particular case, the better approach would be to emphasize the Gmail logo, because the live streams that they're doing are helping, or at least for those streams, they're helping people solve problems specifically inside of Gmail. So the idea of making an obvious thumbnail is just sitting back for a second and looking at all of your thumbnails, on your current live streams that you're doing and on your live stream replays, and thinking to yourself, okay, if the people that I'm trying to reach were to log onto YouTube's homepage right now on a computer and they see a grid of thumbnails, what is going to help my thumbnail stand out to that person based on things that they're already proven to be interested in, right? Like what's going to jump out to them. Same exact thing goes if they open up their phone and they're scrolling through YouTube on their phone. What about your thumbnail as somebody's just sitting there scrolling is going to stop the people that you're trying to reach in their tracks? That's the thing that you want to focus on. So for example, in this thumbnail here, for the stream that you're watching, I always emphasize live in there somewhere, right? On my channel, I always emphasize YouTube. I use YouTube logos and things like that as a means to help content creators identify that it has something to do with YouTube, because all I'm trying to do with my thumbnails, I'm just trying to grab the attention and let people know, hey, this has something to do with something you're interested in, so that people will read the title and then make the choice to come in or not. So because of that, I encourage you to do the same. And instead of, putting a bunch of stuff all over your thumbnails, just take a step back and say, okay, if I'm building a thumbnail out from scratch, right? And this is really important, because when it comes to thumbnails, in my opinion, like your thumbnails and titles are arguably, the most important stuff on your, that you do on YouTube, because if you can't get somebody to click, then nothing else can happen, right? So of course the video content needs to be good too, but if you can't get people to click, then you're dead in the water, right? Like you're not even, you're giving yourself a chance to start. So because of that, it's really important to make sure that you just sit back and you think to yourself, okay, if we're trying to reach people about this topic, let's say you're gaming, right? Then in that particular case, if you're a gamer, focus on obvious characters from the game, add like game logos, that type of thing, just to help people that are interested in that game know that your stream's about that game without having to read the title, because you're leveraging that to grab their attention. If you are talking about, crafting, then instead of having a bunch of words on the screen and maybe a photo of you, just focus on the thing that you're actually going to be building, right? Like start there and then, and then experiment from there. If you are making food content, instead of having words on the thumbnail and you in the thumbnail, focus on the food, because that's going to be the thing that the people who are interested in your type of content, for new people that are interested in your type of content, to identify that it's something that they might care about. So you want to make sure that your thumbnails are made for dummies, essentially, right? Because what you're trying to do is you're just trying to make it clear. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be busy. It just needs to be clear so that they can identify at a glance that your content's about something that they might care about. And then they're going to read your title. So the exercise that you want to do there is anytime that you are putting a thumbnail together, you want to ask yourself two questions. One, what about this thumbnail is going to help people that I'm trying to reach identify it's something that they might care about? Two, why would they click on this particular, thumbnail, or why would this, cause them to read the title, right? So you want to make sure that you're thinking about those things. The next thing you want to think about also, of course, is your titles as well, and your thumbnails like together, because they always work together as a team to win the click. So you want to make sure that you are also thinking about, that like if somebody looks at your thumbnail and you grab their attention there, the next step is to have your search optimized title, or at least that informative title, also have some compellingness to it, right? Just something that would cause people to go like, oh, that seems interesting, or hey, I need to watch that, or I want to watch that, right? But another thing is, I know a lot of people that live stream, they do interviews. If you are somebody that does interviews, if you're here, watching this, just say me in the chat. But, a lot of live streamers will interview other people, right? They, maybe they do like a podcast and they're live streaming the podcast, or they just do a live stream where they, interview other people. A huge mistake that those people make is they will optimize everything around the guest, right? And that's great if the guest is super famous, right? You have like Elon Musk come onto your live stream, then of course you want to optimize around him because people are familiar with him, right? You're leveraging something that's popular to bring attention to yourself in that case. But if you are, okay, so we've got somebody in here that does interviews. So if you are publishing live streams, as interviews, instead of optimizing around the guest, optimize around the topic. And as soon as you do that, you instantly open your content up to a more general audience instead of them having the qualifier of, well, I need to know who this person is to even care, right? But if you optimize around the topic, then it's like, oh yeah, I care about that topic, so I'm going to come in and listen to these people talk about this topic, right? Because the whole idea is, yes, you want to connect. You want to connect with, people that are already interacting with your content. But if you want to grow and you want to, continually get more views over time, then you also have to be thinking about new people as well and how you're going to connect with them. So the next thing you want to think about, of course, if you want to have more viewers while you're live, make sure that you stream when your audience is live on YouTube. So on YouTube, inside of your YouTube analytics, you have a graph that looks like this. In order to find it, you go into your Creator Studio and then into your analytics. And then in your analytics tab, you're going to have the option for audience. When you click into that, you're going to see this graph right here. And if you're publishing videos, then you want to do something that we call like riding the wave or, riding the crowd. But if you're live streaming, you actually want to go live when it's already dark purple. So if you're publishing a video in this case, let's say that you're publishing on Sunday a video, then in that case, publishing in this example, like right around 12, maybe an hour earlier would be the good thing to do there, because that's when people are coming online, and then you'll get to actually ride that wave all the way until, looks like 1 a.m. on Monday. So because of that, you want to make sure that when you're publishing videos that you're publishing, up here. Let's see if this will actually come through on the screen. No, it's not. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're publishing up in that top area. But when you are live streaming, you want to make sure that you're publishing in the purple, because when your audience, or when it's purple, that means that your audience is actually online, at that time. So, man, why is this not, hold on. Oh, because I'm doing the wrong thing there. There we go. I kept trying to share the screen. Yeah. So, so let me do that again real quick. So, if you're publishing a video, then you'd want to do it around like that mark. But live streaming, you want to do it when it's dark purple. And the reason for that is because you have the most people that are interested in your type of content, or they're actually interacting with your content. They're live at that particular, or not live, but they're on YouTube at that time. So you want to make sure that you are doing that as well. The next thing that you want to do is you want to let them know that you're going to stream at that time, right? So because of that, you want to make sure that you schedule your streams in advance. And when you schedule your streams in advance, YouTube has an option for us where we can add video trailers to the live stream. So anybody that came in here before I went live, you saw a video trailer. That video trailer is just a feature that you can add in your live stream settings. So if you are somebody that that publishes your that live streams to YouTube, then if you're using Streamyard, what you want to do is, after you schedule your stream on Streamyard, you want to go into your YouTube settings, and then in your YouTube settings, when you go into the video details page, there you're going to have an option for customization. Once you go into customization, you're going to scroll down the page, and then you're going to see this option here for the trailer and the redirect. If you use that, you'll have more people coming into your stream, especially if you schedule in advance, and I'm going to tell you why and how to actually set this up. So, and by the way, just as a heads up, we actually have if you're still in here, Andrew, if you wouldn't mind grabbing the video off of the Streamyard channel on how to actually add a channel trailer. It shows it step by step. But the whole thing that you want to do is just like a piece of video content, right? You have a hook that you give. So when people come in, it gives them that reason to keep watching. So with your live stream trailer, you want to do the same thing. So instead of, kind of filling it with fluff in the start, you want to, call out your target audience, let them know exactly what it is that you're going to be doing in the stream, and let them know why it is that they should participate. And when you have your stream up online for a little bit, right, because you schedule it in advance and you have this trailer working for you on your behalf, then you are essentially having that that video that you made, sit there and entice people to hit the reminder so that they can come in and join your stream. So the earlier in advance that you can do this, the better. So let's say, for example, you are somebody that doesn't have a lot of activity on your YouTube channel yet, then in that case, you want to schedule, a ways in advance. So publish whatever videos you're doing, things like that. But, I would schedule, at least a few days in advance. If you're somebody that has a following already, then, you can do it like an hour in advance if you want to, or 2 hours. But if you do it, like a 24-hour advance, you'll also have more people showing up in your stream because more people will know about it, more people will make the time for it. So you want to make sure that you're scheduling in advance, and you want to make sure that you're using that trailer option so that people can know why they want to participate. Because if you don't use the trailer, the only thing people have when they click on the option to check out information about your stream is just an image. That's it, an image in the title. So because of that, there's no real context. But for a new person that's not familiar with you already, when they click on it and you're actually, you hook them at the beginning and let them know exactly what you're going to be doing in the stream, some of those people are actually going to be like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. I'm going to come and hang out, right? So you're just giving yourself that additional opportunity to have more people show up by using that YouTube feature that a lot of people don't even know about. Since you are scheduling it in advance on YouTube, you also want to distribute it across your social accounts in advance as well. And you also want to just kind of build in some reminders there. So one of the things that you can use for this, and this actually incorporates with Streamyard as well, by the way. But one of the things that you want to, or that you can use for this, it's called Tube Spanner. And basically with Tube Spanner, they have this like share option in here, and you can do this from directly inside of Streamyard if you want. You don't even have to go to YouTube for it. Or if you choose the option to watch on YouTube for your video after it's scheduled on Streamyard, then you can come and do it here. So then this way it allows you to actually grab the link out of the top and then drop it in here. And then you can actually just schedule these in advance to whatever, social, I got to reconnect there, to whatever social platforms that you, want to let people know about. And because you can schedule it in advance, you can also go ahead and say like, okay, I'm going to schedule this a week out. And then I'm also going to send out another, tweet about this, and maybe a LinkedIn post, maybe the day before, if it's some like big event or some, occasional stream that I do that I want to let people know about. So that particular tool is called Tube Spanner, but the idea, and you don't have to use that, but the idea is, it just makes it easier. But the idea is you do want to make sure that when you are, scheduling your stream in advance, that you're doing everything you can to get people that are likely to be engaged in your content to come in. So one thing that I recommend that you don't do is I recommend that you do not share it on like your personal Facebook where like your friends and family hang out. If you're trying to grow like a, brand of some kind online, or you're trying to grow like a YouTube channel, create like a Facebook page for that, or a Facebook group for that, or something like that, and share it in there. Because what you don't want is you don't want people coming in and like saying that they're going to show up, then not showing up, or people engaging in your content that don't really care about it. That can actually work against you on YouTube if it happens at scale. So because of that, you want to avoid doing that that kind of thing. But scheduling it out to your Twitter, scheduling it out to your Facebook page or your Facebook group, scheduling it out to your LinkedIn, those types of things is definitely something that you want to do, as well as the YouTube notifications that are going to go out. Next, if you upload videos, you want to have a unique offering for your live stream. You can do the same thing if you wanted to, and I call that just making a piece of content live. But it's more advantageous if people get something different from your video content. If you're somebody that does do videos and live streams, have a different offering. And the reason for that is it gives people a reason to show up versus just watching one of your videos, right? Because if you are like, hey, I'm going to be doing this thing, and there's like videos on your channel about it, then in that case, it's like, So, because of that, either go deeper in the information or add like a Q&A or, offer just something completely different. So it gives people a reason to show up. This is what I do with my news. So my news, I was doing those live for a while. Right now I'm doing an experiment on my channel where I'm pushing them out as videos instead of live streams just to see if there's like a performance difference at all. But with those, I did like I think 8 months worth of mostly live streams on those. And it's just a totally different offering. And because of that, people are coming in because they want to know, what was happening there with the news. So just as a quick tip for you, that live stream, that added over those 10 months, it added an extra $10,000 of income to my YouTube channel. It added, a bunch of subscribers, added a bunch of views to the channel and all of that. So if you are in an industry that has, regular news that you can talk about, that's a great piece of supplemental content. And it's something unique if you're not offering something like that on your channel, just to keep people, up to date with what's going on. So, that's not right for everybody, but, if you are somebody that's doing like gaming content, if you are playing like Call of Duty and they're always doing like new drops and stuff for, different weapons and things like that, then you can be like, hey, every weekend we're going to go live. We're just going to talk about all the new stuff that just came out, right? You can do that kind of stuff as well. Next is you want to make sure that, and also when it comes to the offerings, I did put some examples in here, so I'm going to share those with you real quick as well. So for example, if you make marketing tips videos, then answer marketing questions in your stream. If you make travel videos, then show people around some of the towns on your phone, or maybe answer some questions about the places that you go to, or give some like travel tips. If you make gaming guides, then play with your fans, or, stream it to everyone else while you're playing. So it's like, oh, hey, I want to get in on this, while they're playing live with everybody. If you do cooking videos, have like a bake with me stream to where it's just a lot less polished and it's more like they're just hanging out in the kitchen with you while you cook and you're having a conversation there. You can do those types of things. But the idea is just to have something different that you offer. Next is the stream structure. Now, this is for the replay. Okay, so when you are live streaming to YouTube, one thing that's really important, and I actually had a question come in here about live stream from Marianne Crest, says, "What's your thoughts on doing a countdown timer?" So I'm anti-countdown timer personally, and the reason for that is just because I understand how YouTube works, and because of that, I am not going to sacrifice my video performance just to have a countdown timer. Anybody that's doing that on YouTube is working against themselves. Like you don't want to do that unless you're going to take the approach that I'm getting ready to talk about right now, which is editing your videos after your live stream, otherwise known as post-optimizing your stream. So here's the idea. So when you are starting your live stream, you have, shout outs, things like that you might do. And that's all, fine and great for the people that are participating. But when people come in that have never experienced your content before, and you're going to, try to, get those people on board with what it is that you're doing, all that stuff isn't really important to those people. Like when you're doing like, shout outs and you have your initial hook that you do for the viewers that are live, any banter that you do, any catch up stuff like, yeah, had a great weekend, doing this, that, and the other thing, anything like that you do during your live streams, put that at the beginning and kind of group all of those things. And your countdown timer can also go into that particular area. Then what you want to do is you can see that first yellow spot right there named reset. So the idea here is you want to reset the stream once all of that stuff is finished, and you can actually use that entire front section as like your hangout countdown timer, right? So, hey, people are coming in the stream. Hey, what's going on? So-and-so, hope everything's going great, blah, blah, blah. And just talking about what you did that week, things like that. That gives notifications time to go out. That gives people time to come into your stream while you're kind of prepping all of that. And then you reset your stream. So the concept here is, if you look at that first yellow reset point, is right after your shout outs and all that stuff, all you have to do for this to work is say, if you're just joining the stream, oh, hey, by the way, if you're just joining the stream, and then pause just for a second. It's not going to be noticeable to the viewers. Just pause for a second. Say, hey, if you're just joining the stream, today we are talking about blah, blah, blah. Right? Or you don't even have to say that today. You can say, hey, if you're just joining the stream, we're talking about blah, blah, blah. Or I'm showing you how to do this. Or we're hanging out in my kitchen, or whatever the thing is, whatever your hook is. But the idea is that you want to have that particular, oops, I keep hitting the wrong button there. So what you want to do is you want to have that part where you reset it, so that when you go back and you cut it later, and I'm going to pull that screen back up in a second, but you want to have that part where you reset it, so when you come back in and you cut it later, you have that clear point. And when you cut it there, what's going to happen is the replay viewers, the people that are coming in after the stream is complete, they don't get all of that stuff that doesn't matter to them. Instead, they get raw content, right? They get like, okay, this is what's actually happening here in this, and they get to experience it more like a piece of video content versus them coming in and feeling like they missed the boat because all this other stuff was going on that they weren't there for. So the idea is after that reset point, then of course you give all of your content. And then you also want to make sure for the replay that you're also adding a handoff at the end. That's what we call that. And what a handoff is at the end of a video, you are wanting to, it's best practice on YouTube to recommend another piece of content or a playlist or something like that that people can go and interact with after your live stream is complete. The reason for this is because, and this is also part of discovery, is that when somebody is watching your live stream and they're enjoying your live stream, they're just having a good time, this can be a regular viewer or somebody new. And then at the end of your stream, you have them go off to something else through a redirect. That's great for YouTube. But when it comes to the replay video, it's awesome. On YouTube, if somebody comes in, they enjoy your video, and then at the end of your video, they watch something else on YouTube. It could be, something of yours that's more powerful, or you can, recommend something else, whatever. But the idea is that in addition to the watch time, it's called session time technically, but in addition to the watch time that you're getting on your live stream, that gets compounded when people click on the end screen and they go and watch something else. That initial video gets some of that credit for people staying on the platform. And the more that happens and the bigger the scale that happens at, the better that originating piece of content can perform. So because of that, you want to make sure, let's see here, go back to this graphic. So because of that, you want to make sure, actually this is paused on the screen. I can actually write on it if we do it this way. So because of that, you want to make sure that, that you are doing this handoff part, because this handoff part is going to be a vehicle for people to go into more content, which is a big plus, a big win for YouTube. But the whole idea with the reset point is that gives you that clear place to cut. And then of course, in terms of the structure, you can do anything you want in the content, but then you want to make sure that you also add that handoff part. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to the handoff, you only get to have something linked on the screen for the last 20 seconds of the video. So because of that, you want to make sure that whatever call to action that you do that's going to hand somebody off to that next piece of content, you need to make sure that is finished within 20 seconds. So come up with something super fast, something super snappy, and then send people off to that, next piece of content. And then what you do afterwards is when you go in and you use that cut point. Right here, you use that cut point. You go into YouTube's built-in editor on your live stream. You actually log into the back end of your YouTube channel to do this, but you go into this cut point. You're going to make that clear cut right before that reset, and then you're going to add in screens to the for the content that you recommended that people go and watch. So again, the whole idea of this is just compounding that watch time on your channel. Also, more importantly, if we actually break it down to what it's actually happening, you're making it easy for people to find more of your content. And if they're enjoying your content, the best thing that you can do is just help them along in terms of, keeping them from needing to click on stuff or whatever, to where you can just say, hey, watch this next. It's going to help you because of this, or you might find it interesting because of this, or this was our last, cooking kitchen hangout that we did, go check that out, whatever. But the idea is just to keep, stacking up that watch time and session time on YouTube. Next is you need to make sure that you are live streaming on a schedule. This one's kind of obvious, but it's hard for people to do. And it makes sense. Everybody's got their lives that they live. But if you want to grow your stream, the best thing you can do is have a specific day and time that you schedule and stick with it for a long time. Over time, people are going to get used to you doing the thing consistently, and people will actually work that into what it is that they're doing as well if they enjoy your streams, if they get some type of value out of it. So because of that, streaming on a schedule just makes you reliable, just like, for example, I don't know if you're watching Silo or not, but Silo's coming out on Friday, right? Every Friday, I know that Silo's coming out. So when I first started watching it on Netflix, I'm like, oh, here comes another one. Or I'm sorry, on Apple Music or Apple TV. I'm like, oh, another one's coming this Friday. So then I make time to make sure that that I have some time slotted out on Friday so that I can catch up on the latest Silo, right? So the idea is just that consistency causes people to, kind of carve out some time if it's something that they're interested in. The next thing you want to do, of course, is you want to make sure that you are working on your quality if you can. Now, look, this one is a topic that comes up all the time. People are always like, hey, should I focus on quality or quantity? The answer is yes. But when it comes to quality, the quality first is in the eyes of the viewer, right? So, for example, my brother, he's had times during the the thing that we all went through for a few years. He was actually in Mexico and he was live streaming, just walking around on his mobile device, showing people his area in Mexico and stuff like that. He's also done it here in Thailand as well, and people really like those. People really like those. They really like those live streams. The quality is not amazing. It's good enough, but it's not distracting. There's nothing distracting about it. So the idea when it comes to quality is because it's a new experience for people, they still stick around and they enjoy it, right? Because they're seeing something interesting, even though the quality, nothing's fancy, it's not super crisp and clear. They're still getting value out of it, and that's what actually determines quality on YouTube. However, on the other side, you have where when it comes to like, hey, I want to get a good camera and I want to get good audio, things like that, you don't have to do that. If you want to, yes, you can, if you're into that kind of thing like I am. But the idea is you only need to get your quality in terms of your camera optics and your audio. You only need to get that to a high enough point that viewers are not distracted by you having low quality, right? So for example, if somebody comes in and your audio sounds bad, then people, they're going to be likely to leave unless something, really interesting is going on. So because of that, that would be their distraction, right? This audio sounds kind of horrible. There's this weird, thing coming out of the audio. It just sounds weird. All this, echo happen in the room. I can't even focus on what the person's saying. It's a distraction, right? So you need to fix those problems. Same thing with your optics. So it's like, with the camera that you're using. So it's like, hey, can I see? Is there enough light to see whatever it is that I'm showing? If I'm in my kitchen and I'm cooking stuff while I'm live, if I'm in my workshop and I'm showing stuff while I'm live, if I'm out, traveling and I'm using like a live view backpack or something and I'm, walking around there, am I doing it in the dark or am I doing it in the daytime where people can actually see what's going on? But, when you get your quality high enough that people aren't distracted by it, that's all you need. And then you can build on from there if you choose to later. But when it comes to quality, just focus on, camera, sound, and then of course your presentation as well. Because when it comes to live streaming, it's really important to, be able to hold it together, be able to present, everything well, even if you're gaming, right? If you're doing like a let's play, just be really intentional about how you're actually, communicating with the people that are watching, because it makes a really big difference. Next is you want to think about the long game and all of your previous live streams. You have content in there, and this is, possibly depending on what it is that you live stream about, you might have content on your channel from 2 years ago that you can actually cut out little clips and upload them as YouTube Shorts. Of course, it's always best to make unique content for YouTube Shorts, but you do have content on your channel if you're a live streamer that you can cut out little snippets that would be interesting to other people in some way. You want to think of it like this. Okay, this is a tool. I'm going to be repurposing this content into YouTube Shorts so that I can use it as a marketing tool, right? This is just giving people little highlights of my clips so that over time, because I'm going to do what Nick said earlier, and I'm going to, look for the titles and topics and things like that the people interested in my type of content are looking around for. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm cutting those types of things out of my live streams as clips, vertical clips that are under 60 seconds. And then when I'm writing the titles for those and the descriptions, if you choose to, then I'm going to make sure that I'm putting some of those, optimized, keywords or keyword phrases into those as well, so that I can also increase my chances of YouTube showing those clips to the right people as well. And then they get to see some of the information that I'm sharing in my streams, or some of the cool things that I'm, cooking in my kitchen, or some of the cool things that I'm building in my workshop. And by doing that, some people, and this is a long game thing, some people are going to find your content through those shorts, and then they'll subscribe to the channel, and then YouTube is going to let them know that you're live next time you go live. So the whole idea there is just thinking about the long game and leveraging the content that you already have on your channel and kind of putting that out as like a pre-marketing tool for future live streams that you're going to do, and to give people a sample of what it is that you're doing and essentially introduce yourself to them. And then as a bonus, so this one is more technical in nature, and it's not ideal for everybody. And just a heads up, we're going to be doing a Q&A here in just a few minutes too. But the thing that I'm getting ready to say, it's technical in nature, and it's not for everybody, but it's not difficult to actually figure out. There's tons of YouTube videos on how to do it. But the next thing is, over time, like if you're just getting started with live stream, or even if you're an experienced streamer, collecting emails from people that are watching your stream, and you don't even have to market to them, right? So a lot of marketers, will do this, but you don't have to market to them. You can set it up as like a newsletter where you have to put in some extra work, sharing some extra information, or you can just build your own notification system and say, hey guys, just as a heads up, if you're enjoying this stream, YouTube notifications are not perfect, because they're not. So, hey, YouTube notifications are not perfect. So if you want to make sure that you are always notified when I go live, make sure that you sign up for my live stream notifications. I put a link to that in the description. And then anybody that's like super interested in your live streams, they'll go down there, they'll sign up, and then you can actually do a broadcast a little bit before you go live, give people time to actually show up, and then and make that part of your workflow with regular emails going out every time you go live. And the whole idea for that, again, you can do it, through marketing funnels and stuff like that if you were going to, like go advanced, but at the very least, you can do it to where you're just sending out notifications when you go live. And the only promise is like, hey, I'm not going to be badgering you through email. This is strictly just to let you know when I'm going live. And by doing that, over time, you're also going to collect a bunch of emails for that, which is going to grow the amount of people that are getting notifications every time that you go live. For this, you can use tools like Aweber, ActiveCampaign, MailChimp. Those are all great places to start, and they're all really reliable tools. And just for clarity, this is the screenshot that I was telling you that you can take, but some of the tools that we mentioned here in the stream today, these are, for different things. So if you're trying to optimize for search and make it easy for people to find more of your content, TubeBuddy.com, AnswerThePublic.com, and the YouTube autocomplete. For making a trailer, and I didn't mention this, I actually forgot, so let me pull this down real quick. So when we were talking about making the trailers earlier, you can also do that inside of Streamyard. So if you are a Streamyard user, one of the things that you can do is any live stream that you do, it's automatically recorded in the background, which is a huge win for like repurposing and, being able to access that. But in addition to that, another really cool thing about Streamyard is they have a record only feature. So you don't have to make a super fancy trailer. When we were talking about making trailers for your live streams earlier, all you have to do is go into Streamyard, and just like you would click the go live button, instead of setting it up to go live, you set it up to record, and you hit the record button instead, and then you just talk to the camera. Hey, I'm going to be, sharing, this particular thing, or, hey, I'd like to invite you to come hang out with me in my kitchen. I'm going to be making pizza. I'm going to be putting pineapple on it, loads of pineapple, as a matter of fact. And, our kitchen live streams are typically a hangout. Here's a quick, sample of what it is, and then show maybe a quick clip or two or a little highlight, if you wanted to, because then that would require editing, or just talk to them and say, hey, this Saturday, I'm going to be going live on my channel, and we are going to be making a delicious, pizza. We're going to be putting pineapples on it and a bunch of other things. I do live streams like this on a regular basis. People really enjoy them. So I invite you to enjoy it. All you have to do is click the notify me button, and then YouTube will let you know when I'm going live. And then stop the recording, and then you can just upload that raw, just like that. And that's way better than just uploading a thumbnail by itself. So, but again, with these tools, the other side is the social scheduling, to where you can just do that, without having to leave StreamYard or YouTube, so that you can broadcast that you're going live, is tubespanner.com. And the email services that I mentioned are aweber.com, activecampaign.com, and MailChimp.com. So now we are going to get into a Q&A. So if anybody here has any questions about any of the information that I shared today, now would be a great time to drop those questions, and I'll just answer them. Just make sure you put a Q in front of the question so I know it's for me. And just really quick, for those of you that are going to head out, if you could just hit the like button on the way out too. That's just kind of like a feedback thing, kind of lets me know if you enjoyed or got any value out of this stream or not. So make sure that you hit that like button if you are hanging out. But the floor is now open. So if you do have a question about any of the information that I shared today, go ahead and drop it in there. And if not, then we'll wrap it up. But I'm going to leave that totally up to you, for everybody here that's watching the stream. Oh yeah, Andrew Can made a really good point here. Also, YouTube has the research tab as well. So if you go into your YouTube backend, they have a tool where you can basically research what your viewers are looking for as well. So yeah, thanks for that reminder as well, Andrew. Super appreciate it. Hey, thanks, Jerry. Yeah, StreamYard is great for recording videos and streams. You know, it's great just having that backup, right? Because, you know, like for example, even though I'm making this for StreamYard, I could technically go in, download this video after this stream is over, and then, you know, I could just use like a little clip, you know, of like one little point or something like that for like a TikTok or, you know, YouTube short if I wanted to. Let's see here. So Andrew says, hey, Nick, how often would you recommend promoting content before you go live? It just depends. Like, you know, if you have like a following already, then in that case, you know, it's not as critical because you're going to have those initial people to kind of give it that love, so to speak. And you're going to get it shown in front of a lot of people on the replay. But if you are somebody that, and it's not as critical there, of course, scheduling in advance is always, you know, the smart thing to do. But if you are somebody that, you know, doesn't have a following at all, in that particular case, let's say that you upload like a video on Monday and then you're going to stream on Friday, then I would schedule it on Wednesday. And then by doing that, it gives you, you know, a little bit of time or a couple of days before you actually stream. And that, you know, is enough time for everybody that needs to see it to see it. Is it better to have a separate channel for slightly different subjects? Slightly different, no, unless it's for a different audience. So when it comes to splitting up YouTube channels, the thing that you want to make sure that you're thinking about is first, identify who it is that you're trying to reach with your content, right? So like, for example, you know, because we referenced the cooking channel and making pizza earlier. So if you have a cooking channel, in that particular case, you know, you wouldn't necessarily, if you're being strategic about it, you wouldn't necessarily just have a cooking channel. You would have a cooking channel for, you know, for busy, you know, busy single moms, or you would have a cooking channel for busy single parents, or you would have a cooking channel for meals under, you know, a certain amount of money, or, you know, something like that. And by doing that, it makes it a lot more clear who it is that you're after. I mean, yes, without question, you can be like, hey, today we're talking about tomato salad or potato salad. Tomorrow we're talking about steak. And then the day after that, we're talking about a vegan meal. Right? You can totally do that. But the problem there is the people that watch the steak video might not necessarily care about the vegan video and vice versa. So you start kind of polluting your audience there, and you start making inconsistency, or you start publishing content that is inconsistent to the things that they're actually interested in. So what you want to think about is first, who are we actually trying to help? And then from there, just thinking, okay, if we're going to talk about this topic, either a video or live stream or short, whatever, then is this something that these people that we're trying to get in front of are likely to be interested in? If the answer is yes, then in that particular case, it's probably good. The second check, or the fallback check there, is, okay, is this something that they're likely to be interested in? Yes. Okay, so if they're likely to be interested in this, if they watch this video, would they also be likely to watch one of the last videos that I published, like the last one or the one before that? If the answer is yes, then you're nailing it. If the answer is like, well, you know, they probably wouldn't because of, you know, whatever reason, because it's about something completely different, then in that case, you know, you need to kind of fine tune things a little bit better and get a better understanding of the audience. But at the end of the day, like, niching down is more about, you know, who it is that you're serving with your content. It's more about that than it is about, you know, each individual piece of content that you publish, if that makes any sense. So an example I like to give for this, my channel targets YouTube content creators. So because of that, I have like different buckets of content that I put out. But the core of it though is like YouTube growth tips, YouTube tools, and then occasional YouTube inspiration, right? And then I have like the service side as well, where I usually do that with the live streams through my Q&A sessions that I do on Saturday, where I answer questions for 3 hours straight, and then through the news, where I just keep people up to date with everything that's going on. So those are more like my service, you know, stuff. And then, and my monetization streams when I occasionally do those. But then I have like the tools, and then the, you know, the YouTube help tips and the occasional inspirational content. But all of that is all targeted towards YouTube content creators. And if somebody watches one of those, then they're likely to have, if they don't need it now, if it's a tool, then they'll need it in the future. So because of that, you know, if there's not perfect alignment right now, they will align, right? So I just run it through that filter of like, is this something that's going to be helpful for a YouTube content creator, specifically somebody that's, you know, trying to get the ball rolling on their channel? Yes or no? And then I'll publish if the answer is yes. I'll make the video, I should say, if the answer is yes. So next question. The creative lady says, great stream. Never thought to use the record only feature for a trailer. I'm going to try that today. Thanks. Hey, here's a tip for you is, in addition to using it for the trailer, you can also use it for a be right back video. So, you know, like as a streamer, you're going to run into problems, right? It just happens, right? You're going to run into tech problems. I see, I jumped a handful of questions here, so I'll go back up here in a second. But one thing you can do, let me see if I still have it in here because it should be in the Streamyard. Yeah. So like here, this is a be right back screen. I'm going to play it really quick. I can't remember what I said in it, but basically instead of having a static be right back screen, I have this on my main channel. I play like music. I play music videos on there. I'm actually putting together like a tour of my city, just so that when people are hanging out in the live streams, when I need to take a break, it just gives some variety of, you know, what they might see. But here's an example. Hey, if you're seeing this, it means that I needed to step away for a second because I needed to take some kind of break, or it means that I've had some type of technical issue. And because of that technical issue, then I've needed to, you know, just kind of step away for a second. But instead of just kind of leaving you hanging, but anyway, you get the idea, and you can do that same exact thing. So in addition to making the trailer, instead of having just a static be right back screen that's boring, you can make something where you're at least talking to people and you're trying to keep them engaged in some way. That video, it's like a 2-minute and 49-second video. The whole thing, no editing, nothing like that. Took me 2 minutes and 49 seconds to make it, and then about another minute for it to process on Streamyard side, and then download it and then upload it into that, you know, into that video spot inside of Streamyard. But yeah, you can use it for trailers and you can use it for that kind of thing as well. And if any of you are not familiar with Streamyard, it's the streaming tool that I'm using to stream this right now. It's the tool that I use to stream all of my live streams that I do on my channel. It's makes it easy to bring in like guests, makes it easy to record your streams. It hosts everything in the cloud. So if you have like a technical problem, it holds everything open. I've had to deal with that because I live out in the boonies. And it's saved my streams many times to where, you know, like I don't have to accidentally lose the stream and then schedule a new stream and try to get everybody to come back in. It just holds it open. And then I just come back in on my phone or something like that while I'm getting everything fired back up. So did the separate channel. Is there a way to add a thumbnail and a short within StreamYard? So when it comes to thumbnails, thumbnail on a shirt or a short. Okay, so I'm just gonna assume, because we're talking about YouTube, that you're saying shorts here. So if you're talking about YouTube shorts, when you are clipping out shorts there, the best thing you can do is during the upload process of YouTube, you have the option there to where you can actually pick a screen grab. So just pick something that, you know, might be interesting to people there, or put text and then click on that text. And you can just do that as part of your upload process when you're putting up a short. So if you don't have something, you know, to actually show, then in that case, just quickly putting text, you know, selecting one of your screenshots and then putting text on it. And then, you know, having that as the thing, is the way to do that currently. Personally, I think it sucks that YouTube took thumbnails away from YouTube shorts. My highest performing shorts all have thumbnails on them. Every single one of them have thumbnails on them. Custom thumbnails, like, you know, designed, you know, put them up, and they're getting traffic from all over YouTube. All the other ones, they still get traffic from all over YouTube, but it's just so much harder to compete because they're competing with just like my face instead of like a designed thumbnail that is intentional, trying to get people to click on it. So I think it's kind of silly. I understand the barrier to entry thing and all that, but the short by itself in the shorts feed is the barrier to entry, but that's a conversation for another day. Okay. So next up, we've got, you mentioned you were experimenting with live versus pre-recorded for the news on Friday. How long do you run experiments before looking at results? It depends. So in some cases, I can see, you know, what I need to know right away. So, you know, like 3 or 4, you know, pieces of content might do the trick. Other times I'll let it run for a while. Like if I'm like, okay, let's see, you know, if there's some type of, you know, thing that happens after 90 days where all of a sudden these start getting suggested more or something like that, then, you know, then it like the thing that I'm doing right now, I'll be doing mostly, unless I just run out of time and I can't do it, on the weekends where there's news worth talking about. I'll be uploading videos for those for probably another 2 months for those, and then, you know, based on whatever happens after that, then I'll just continue on that, or I'll just kind of take them back and forth depending on what I get. How different would you recommend the live streaming topic format be from a typical videos on a channel? As long as it's in alignment with the things that they care about, then it's a win. But I would just try to think of just something that's different, right, man? Like you watch my content, so it's like, I have my Q&A stuff that I do. That's a different offering. I have the news stuff that I do. That's a different offering. And then I have like all the video content. So the whole idea, and also like with my monetization streams, when I do those, like even with those, like I'm not just thinking like, okay, what can I do that's different, from my regular content? I'm also thinking, what can I do that's different from what everybody else in the space is doing too? Because, I'm really big on trying to find, little things that you can do to try to stand out in some way. So because of that, like the Q&A thing, when I started doing that, and I was doing it for a long time now, it's something that, tons of channels do that now, that help YouTube content creators on a regular basis. Then I started doing channel reviews back in the day. Then everybody started doing channel reviews. So now I'm like, okay, everybody's doing channel reviews. So what can I do? Oh, let's do monetization, where I look at channels and try to help them figure out ways that they can make money from their content. I don't think anybody's doing that right now, but they will in the future. They definitely will, especially if I get consistent with those, then other people will start doing them. And then the news. So when I started doing that, and I'm not going to call them out, but when I started doing that, there were 2 other channels that immediately recognized the results that I was getting from those, and they started doing something similar. So they don't frame it around it being like a show, but they're hopping on the same exact stuff, like and kind of presenting it as news. And one of them I actually reached out to, and I'm like, hey, this is ridiculous. I'm like, we work together, and like you're kind of doing this. It's kind of not that awesome because I'm using this as a thing to kind of stand out, and they have since kind of cut back on it a bit, but yeah, just finding things that are different for your channel but still add value, and then also trying to find things that other people in your space aren't doing, because then when people are thinking about it, you are the thing that comes to mind, right? Like, so for example, anybody that's interacting with my news content on a regular basis, if they come in like once or twice, not so much. But for the people that are like, oh, hey, I've been in like 10 of these news things, if they think about, YouTube news or news for content creators, they're going to think about me, right? That's just how that type of thing works. So because of that, just trying to think of things that are different for your audience and things that are different for your space. And it's hard work. Like it's hard coming up with that stuff. Like the news thing, right? Such a basic idea. And it's like, oh yeah, of course, duh. Like once it hits, right? Once you're like, oh yeah, of course. I mean, because then you're hopping on a trending topic, which is just best practice anyway. But then let's package it like it's actual, like a news thing, right? So when it hit, it's like, okay, that makes total sense. But it took a long time to actually come to that, like, man, what is nobody else doing in the space, right? So it's hard. It can take some time and tons of brainstorming, but it's there for you too. Doing food content, it's for you too. Like in your case, because you do go to like restaurants and things like that in your area, and you do like food reviews, that kind of stuff, taking people to something that maybe they don't normally get to see. Like, if there's like a food festival in your area or something like that, make that kind of like a hero event, because you focus on things like in your local area. So, if you have some type of like food event going down, like go there and like, live stream, some of that stuff there. Be careful of the music that's playing in the background and all that. But go to some of those food festivals and walk people around and show them those things, and, kind of give them your feedback there, ask them, get them involved. Hey, what do you want me to eat? Hey, what do you think of this over here? Should we try that? And just try to get them involved there. Maybe if you're not doing that already. Let's see here. How long until I'm able to stream after making a large library of evergreen content? I noticed that a lot of well-named creators wait until they get a good following before streaming. Any thoughts? So if you're live streaming for the sake of adding value back to the people that are already interacting with your content, then in that particular case you would need a following of some type for that, for the people to be able to receive that and participate in the stream. However, you can live stream like right now, and you can just create content live. So the idea there is, and this is kind of what I do with my news segment when I live stream it, is instead of, like starting the stream and doing shout outs, things like that, I start it, I give a hook in there for the replay, and then I deliver, the information, and then I'm done with the whole thing in like 10 to 12 minutes or less. So, so with that particular stream, I'm doing that. I'm essentially making content live instead of making the video. I'm making the videos now, but when I do those live streams, I'm just making the content live. So depending on the type of content that you make, if you think like, I don't have hardly anybody, I've got like, 5 subscribers on my channel, that is where optimizing everything, which is what we talked about at the beginning of the stream today. So make sure you watch that on the replay if you didn't get to see it. But that's where like optimizing everything for discovery is really important, because then while you're streaming, YouTube is still going to be showing you around to people that might not be subscribed to your channel, but maybe they've interacted with it recently, or maybe they've been on YouTube looking at other videos and watching other content that's similar to what you make. And because of that, YouTube will put them into a box essentially and say like, hey, these people are a candidate for this particular type of content based on everything else that they're watching. And then they might actually get recommended your stream. So because of that, just make sure you're optimizing everything properly. But in terms of, waiting to stream, totally your call on that. You can make the content live and just go for it, so then you get experience and then you start building up that live stream show over time. Or you can say, you know what, I'm just going to take it easy right now and just focus all of my efforts on learning how to make good videos. Because, in fairness, when it comes to live streaming, it can be quick, but it can also take a lot of time, because you have to prep, you got to set everything up. If you're going to be taking people through something, then, that could be like another hour or something like that. And you might be able to make videos faster. So, in some cases, live streams are faster. In some cases, the videos are faster. It just depends on what you're doing. But if you don't have a following yet, take the approach of making content live and just don't even bother. Just go in as soon as it starts, give them a hook or just a reason that they should hang out in the stream. So since you're on campfire stuff, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure on what type of content you're making, but let's say, for example, I'll just say a gamer. So if there's a gamer and, they're starting a stream, instead of starting that stream and just kind of sitting there and waiting for people to show up or just not even saying anything, the second the stream starts, they need to say something that is of interest to the people that would be coming in on the replay. So, because that's where all the views will come from, right? If you don't have viewers live. So for example, as soon as it starts, they should come in and say something like, okay, today I'm playing Fortnite Battle Royale, and we're trying to get, in the top 5 with only using, my axe or my sword or whatever the thing is. And by doing that, it creates a challenge of some kind. It gives people a reason to stick around on the replay. And it also lets them know that you're actually trying to accomplish something instead of just sitting there, right? Can't believe I waited so long to pay for Streamyard. It made my channel an entirely different experience. Have so many more tools. Yeah, it's an awesome tool. Absolutely awesome tool. What about duration? How many hours should I be live? Your call. It comes down to what it is that you offer, right? If you are, if you're like, hey, I've got this thing that I want to do and it's going to take me an hour, then let it take you an hour. If you're like, hey, I want to just hang out and play music with people and just build a song, then you could stream for 6 hours straight if you wanted to. I think our longest stream on our Q&A, back when we were doing Q&A in the beginning and then channel reviews at the end, I think our longest stream was a little over 7 hours on that one. But I've also participated in streams that have went on for 24 hours, to where they just kind of rotate around. We did a fundraiser for my friend who ended up with cancer, and we ended up generating, I think it was $100,000 over the course of I think it was 24 hours or 48 hours, something like that. But in that particular case, it was the stream started and then we just kept going, and it was a rough. That was a rough one. I think I might have streamed or been a part of that one for I don't know. It's been so long now. I think it might have been 12 hours or 15 hours or something like that. It was crazy. Let's see here. Nick, could you please give me a tip to get more people to watch my live stream? That's what this whole entire thing is. So I recommend that you, once the stream is complete, you go back and you watch the replay. Oh, on the be right back screen there. Yeah, that's definitely a win. Let's see here. Just looking for those cues. Let's see. Okay. In your opinion, have shorts peaked? If so, what's the future of them? In my opinion, there's no viable business model to keep them going. So no, they haven't. So the same thing's going to happen to shorts that happened to the platform. You can already see it happening. So the better people get at making shorts, and the more high quality shorts that go out, or shorts that, people are, that they really enjoy and they, engage with heavily, they share them, things like that. Those are going to rise to the top, and the competition will continue to get more difficult and more difficult and more difficult and more difficult over time. Shorts are going to continue to get flooded with more and more and more content, especially now that people are using like AI tools to make like 300 shorts over the course of like, an hour. So, like it's just going to continue to get flooded, and you're going to have to be able to compete, just like in the long form content as well. So I don't think they've peaked in any capacity. I think that we're still at the beginning of shorts as well. The fact that they just applied monetization to it and it's really low let down a bunch of creators. However, they're just getting started with that too. So, I think that, like, when it comes to vertical content in general, it's definitely here to stay. When it comes to YouTube Shorts, that's here to stay. I would be surprised if in the future, if YouTube didn't, open Shorts up to longer than 60 seconds, and then it's going to get really fun. Technically, you can upload vertical content into the regular format, longer videos now, but it doesn't actually show up in a shelf like it does in Shorts in terms of being able to just scroll through it. But in the future, they might do something like that. And if they do, then you're going to be able to get real ad rates, just long form ad rates, just like you do on regular videos. You're going to be able to get that in the feed as well. So I definitely don't think they've peaked, and I think that there's a really good chance that in the future that they'll make it to where you can upload longer vertical content as well, so they can absorb everything from TikTok and pay creators competitively there, and all of that stuff. So yeah, I think I don't think it's peaked at all. And I know you said that you don't think there's a viable business model to keep them going. There is. And that model is to, be one of the places where people can put vertical content. Because if they don't keep that going, then they're basically just saying, hey, Facebook, hey, Instagram, hey, Snapchat, hey, Pinterest, hey, TikTok, all of you can have this vertical content and we don't care. They're not going to do that. What they're trying to become is the media outlet for everything. So that's why, they've went after, Spotify with YouTube Music. That's why they're going after Apple Podcasts and all the other podcast platforms with their podcast, and having those being able to be presented in video format in the regular platform, or as video and audio over in YouTube Music. Like they have the long form content, they have shorts, they have live streams, they've got everything. So if they shut down the short form, or the vertical content, then they'll be taking an L there. So yeah, I think that it's definitely viable. They're getting like something crazy. It's like 50 billion views a day or something crazy across the world in YouTube Shorts. That's ridiculous, right? It's either a day or a month. I can't remember, but it's a lot. And yeah, like it's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's viable. They are making money from it now that they have ads in there. And keep in mind, like the creators are getting what the creators get, but YouTube, like when you're saying it's not a viable business model, you're looking at it through the lens of people hopping onto Twitter and reporting that they've got like a bunch of views and they didn't make hardly any money from it. You're not thinking that YouTube has millions of those types of people that they're making a little bit of money off of, all of the ads that are being shown. So at scale, they're still generating like serious income from YouTube Shorts now. Let's see here. To my knowledge, no, but it is something, to my understanding, and I could be wrong on this. This is a better question for their community on Facebook, where they have like, staff that can help answer that. But to my understanding, that's something that they're working on, but it's not currently available. Let's see here. Man, people are disgusting. Let's see. Trying to listen to you. First, it's fun to me. Catching Jesus more. Okay. What about duration? How many hours should I be live? We answered that one already. Let's see here. No, it's not that. It's just that that's the way that you just keep proceeding, right? It's not that it's not being a trendsetter. Other people also do other stuff that I don't offer. So it's not that. It's just that I just try to offer something different. Let's see here. Just looking for any more questions. Make sure you put a Q in front of the question if you have one. Okay. Yeah. So, so that's it. So, on that note, so it looks like we got all of the, questions answered there. So, if anybody has any questions, about, anything that I, talked about here, feel free to, mention it on, at me on Twitter or something, and I can try to add some clarity, where need be. In terms of the streaming to IG yet, yeah, I just answered that one. So to my understanding, no. But I would definitely double check and make sure, basically StreamYard has a Facebook community where, you can do feature requests, things like that. So I just recommend that you go put that there, and then they can actually have staff that works at StreamYard, because I don't work at StreamYard. They have staff that works there that interacts in that group that can confirm yeah, we're working on this, or, it's on the list, but we haven't gotten there yet, or, whatever the report is there on that. Is there any settings, really quick? So German Joe Hare, I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly, says, is there any settings for live stream on YouTube to tell the audience that the stream will be in a specific language? Like Norwegian, for example. I believe there's a setting for this on Twitch. So you have that in video content. And technically, yeah, if you schedule your stream and then you go into the video details page for that stream, then yeah, you'll be able to set the language. So yeah, you can do that. Absolutely. So on that note, now that we got all the questions answered there, everybody have a fantastic rest of your week. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I will see you next time. Oh, and hit the like button on the way out.